Hi, everybody. Welcome back to day two of 21 days anti-aging protocol to awaken the inner lioness. I'm going to try to make it easy for everybody to find us today. I apologize. Yesterday, a few of you were asking other participants, where's the link? I apologize. I did not mean to let anybody down or get anybody lost. I tried something different, which is streaming in a few different places, and it took a little bit of time for me to put the link in the group. So I apologize. I send everybody the replay, and I hope that you're able to join live today. I'm going to take a minute to pin the live to the top. You're welcome to join us in the group. You can join us in YouTube. You can join us in the business page. You can join us in any of those places. And I'm happy to be back with you guys for day two. I asked you to put in the homework thread. What is it that you're working towards? What is your goal? What is the big pain point? What is your hindrance? What is it that you want to overcome, recreate, transform, manifest in regards to your health and anything and everything that we deal with as women in the middle age? Because I found the five things that we discuss are what are most prominent for women, and one of them being a complete and repetitive topic that I hear women talking about, which is the fat loss. And so I asked you to identify, and I said inflammation, fat loss, hormone balancing or lack of balance of the hormones, anti-aging, and optimal health. And there was a good combination of all different topics, which makes me understand that we are kind of getting close to understand what you deal with, and we can focus on those points. Because there was at least one of you that said something in relationship to each one of the pain points that I talked about, and I'm gonna do my best to address most of those concerns over the period of 21 days. And so before we go into the material for today, what I'm gonna go over is how will the training work. I know there's some people in the West Coast, there's some people in Europe, there's some people in Latin America that are following the training, and I want you to know that my personal desire is that this training is available for you at any point in time during the next 21 days, which means that I'll go live daily at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will stream it in the group, and you will be able to find it there available for 21 days. You can go at your own time, whatever is convenient for you. Catch the replay, make your homework um, shares in the group, and we're gonna have an opportunity to win a free session for the people that done the homework and participated for yesterday's homework. So I'm gonna invite you to continue to participate in the homework, share to the best of your ability whatever you want to share inside of the group. And the people that are participating and engaging, not only will they get much more out of the training because it's much more empowering when you're engaged and when you're intentional, when you're present, when you are setting new goals, when you're committed, when you're creating that consistency. But also, you will get the benefit of, getting an opportunity to win a free session where I can help you go a little deeper to identify what's keeping you stuck, what's making it not click for you, what is that cyclical thing that we keep on coming back to that maybe makes us feel defeated or makes us give up or makes us frustrated, and how can we move forward from that feeling, emotion, and or sensation. I see at least one of you join us here in the live. Here, just feel free to introduce yourself. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Ask me questions, share with me, participate in the live. I don't want to be the one talking, 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 and you listening. A lot of this is going to be not brain science and not completely new. By highlighting the points that we're going to be discussing over the next 21 days, my biggest hope is that you're going to make it a forefront concern, a top priority, something you commit to, that you stick with, that you follow through so that a new person, a new version of you, a new identity can rise out of your commitment in the next 21 days. We all know a new routine takes about 21 days for us to get used to it and follow it and create that consistency. And so over the next 21 days, that's my biggest wish for you, that you get a little bit of clarity and you get started with the process. And the process will gain momentum to the extent that you're able to commit to it and stay with it and follow through. And that is my biggest wish for you, that this is a little bit of synergy and momentum, and then you go into the process of transformation, which is a little bit longer than just 21 days. 21 days is setting up a new routine, becoming aware of something, shifting a priority or a focus to be more geared towards your self care, improving your health, losing some fat, weight, and or balancing the hormones, or it could be just simply overall health. Some of you have conditions, some of you just want to feel better, some of you are just concerned about having that quality of life and lengthy quality of life. And so that longevity is the main focus that you are going to be having this next 3 weeks. But I invite you to really be open to share inside of the safe space. You can just keep it in the Facebook group if you feel safer in that space. I would love for you to share a little bit of what your journey's been, what the journey will be over the next 21 days, and to use me. I'm here available for the next 21 days to inspire you, to share with you, to answer questions, to give you whatever tips, tricks from my personal experience as a person, as a woman that I am in middle age, but also as a wellness professional. So use me up, share with me, ask me questions, speak my brain. Just that's what I'm here for. And so whoever is meant to work with me, maybe later on, long term, will be whoever is ready and able to commit. But my main goal is whoever participates in this particular training will gain value, will get inspired, and will get in action. So that is my biggest wish for you. And I see one of you saying hi. Thank you for joining me live, and thank you for being here with us. Um, Yesterday we talked about awakening the inner lion. And we talked about we have it within, that strength, that courage, that invincibility, unstoppability is part of our life, our inherent quality of life. And so sometimes we feel like we've lost it as we age, as we went into middle age, as we had kids, as we had families, as we changed the focus to be on something else. We felt like maybe we lost a version of ourselves that's strong, that's resilient, that's courageous, that committed, that is really powerful. And yesterday's conversation was about we need to actually carve that version of you again, refine her, recreate it. Sometimes like that's what's gonna take. We can't make myself wrong. I'm not gonna make myself wrong and or give up. I'm not going to beat myself up. I'm just going to make a newfound commitment, a long-term commitment with discipline and consistency. You're going to be able to tackle the things that are a pain point at this point, something that you're dealing with, an obstacle, something that hinders you, that bothers you, that's not aligned with the biggest and most beautiful version of you. But nothing is wrong. There is nothing that cannot be transformed. And I apologize, you might hear the storm in the background, or you might not, but it's raining really heavily. We have this storm coming through, and I hope I don't lose the connection. So sit back and have a beverage of choice and take notes and or participate, share, ask questions, whatever you would like to do. Thank you for being here. And if you have throughout the next 3 weeks, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you're always welcome to send me a private message, whether it's by email, social media, or YouTube, to be able to communicate with me. And I'll be happy to respond to whatever concerns or just listen up to what your journey's been about. And so today we're talking about what is the impact of having left ourselves behind. And I know that sometimes we think about what we want, we think of what we don't have, and there's that like almost like unreachable thing of what we want that we are not there yet. We have that past that could be a burden or it could be significant because we no longer have the version of the past. And so we have to go into uncovering, aligning with, awakening the version of ourselves that's that lioness, that strong version of ourselves. that leader in us, the confident one, the courageous, the invincible, the unstoppable. And that might take you recreating the sense of identity, shifting your identity, maybe stepping into a new identity. It might be a new version of you that needs to show up in order for you to be that lioness. But what I want to let you know is that it is within. Now we're going to talk about what is the impact when we start kind of relegating our self-care. We're not longer focusing on ourselves. We feel like we have to focus on the kids and the family and or the job or the career or the business or the clients or the community or our elderly parents or our friends and our community at large and wanting to make a difference because most of the people that will be following me will be heart-centered, mostly spiritual women, with their own share of personal growth and transformation, but really feeling like there's much more to life and that they're still recreating and or manifesting another level available for their health and their spirit and their mind. And so what we want to talk about today mostly is what is the impact when we leave ourselves behind. And I want to let you know that there is a price that we pay when we leave ourselves behind. And we know about it, and it's a little bit of a sting or uncomfortable to think about. But it is important that we kind of go into the discomfort, the painful feeling, the uncomfortable feeling, sensation, experience of being there on the impact of what happened. I let myself go. Now I gain weight. I have inflammation in my body. Maybe I stop working out. I have weakness. I feel flabby. I don't feel confident. I don't feel sexy. I don't feel attractive, whatever the case may be. And what is that cost of the self abandonment and not making myself a priority? And we want to let it sting a little bit because when we get to the bottom of the barrel, when we get to that being frustrated, being unhappy, uncomfortable, intolerant, fed up, and exhausted of that feeling, that sensation, that repetitiveness of leaving myself behind, abandoning myself to take care of everything and everybody else. And in the process, when we leave ourselves behind, there's a certain impact, the hidden cost of that. And so I want to talk to you about what is it that happened somewhere along the way that, how do you as a woman stop being the priority that you should be? Not because you wanted to, but because you were busy doing everything else, tending to everybody else. And you became the caretaker, you became the wife or the employee or the mom, or the business owner or the friend or the woman that everybody could count on. If you're highly sensitive, empathetic, or heart-centered, you're that good friend that's there and reliable, no, that's always reliable and unconditional. What I wanted to say, unconditional. And many times, what happens is that you are that kind of person that is strong in nature, and not many people could be there for you. And so what happens is that we end up giving up on ourselves and being available for everybody else. And then when we want to take on our own self-care, make ourselves a priority, it feels wrong, selfish, that it shouldn't be. We start questioning ourselves or beating ourselves up or making ourselves wrong, or we just have a very weak muscle in being able to make that priority, that self-care and or feeling right about that, not feeling guilty or feeling like it shouldn't be, or if there's a person in my family that needs me, I should be available for them. Because what we said yesterday is that if you understand the impact on you, that will be in turn the impact on the community, on the family members, on the friends and or group of people, acquaintances or coworkers, when you start taking care of yourself, then you will make it a non-negotiable thing instead of being an optional thing. And so over the next 21 days, is that what the shift of the identity that needs to happen is that you understand that it's not longer optional thing. You get to this age, you have to keep up, you have to be strong, you have to avoid having conditions and or things complicate or come up. And the best version is of you will become available the moment you start being intentional and using more of a prevention approach versus addressing the concern or the condition after shows up. And so while you were taking care of everybody else, you stopped taking care of yourself. And it wasn't an overnight process. It was little by little, one workout that you skipped, or one canceled doctor's appointment, or maybe I don't want to do it today, so I'll start Monday, relegating, procrastinating, abandoning ourselves little by little, chipping at our self-confidence and or ability to believe in ourselves. And we keep on doing that until one day we looked at the mirror and we say, what happened to me? What happened to me? And for me, that day that I recall in the last few years or maybe the last decade, it was in 2019 where I found myself about 40 pounds overweight and my body was achy and my legs were inflamed and I woke up with pain and I had very much a lack of focus, high irritability. I couldn't sleep. I fell asleep in the couch, but then I woke up throughout the night, all night. And I didn't understand at that time, and none of the doctors that I went to see was able to explain to me that I was going through the process of perimenopause. And so one of the things that showed up soon after those signs and side effects or inconvenience, characteristics of being in middle age, one of the signs that showed up is pre-diabetic condition. And I went the route with a doctor to do the blood exams and the A1C measures, and doctor said, well, you're borderline pre-diabetic. But then, because I'm a holistic practitioner, I believe in the holistic approach to things, I also consulted a friend of mine who is a holistic doctor, a Chinese doctor. And what she did is she looked at my blood exams, and as soon as she looked at the panel, she said, your vitamin D is really low. And I said I had no clue about that. And she said, go ahead and go in Google and look at vitamin D, low vitamin D side effects. And sure enough, being, experiencing signs of pre-diabetes was one of the main characteristics of being low in vitamin D. So that example gave me a sense of reassurance that sometimes medical doctors don't know, not because they don't care, but they haven't been trained, they haven't been educated, they haven't been taught in medical school how to address concerns with nutrition or holistic approaches. They are trained to treat the disease and or the condition, the diagnosis. And many times they overlook what is the root cause of whatever issue that came. And so going the medical, route in my particular journey did not help. And the moment that I understood vitamin D was low, I started supplementing, I started working out, I started eating right, started doing all the things that my friend and colleague allowed me to, start doing. She also offered a line of nutraceuticals, which are supplements that are medical grade. And so I took that for 3 months. My A1C went from 5.8, which is pre-diabetic conditions, to 5.3, which is non-diabetic conditions. And when I went to the doctor, the nurse was laughing. She's like, what did you do? Like most people come for 3 months and their conditions have worsened, but yours completely dissipated, disappear, vanish. It's no longer there. And I said, well, I did what I'm meant to do, eating right, exercising, sleeping better, and taking care of myself. And she said, well, you're the poster child of the outcome that we can expect from patients, and you no longer are at risk of pre-diabetes. And if you keep up what you're doing, you're going to be good to go. And that was the case. That was in 2020 or 21, and it's 26 at this point, 6 years free of any of those conditions, completely healed, reversed, and manage. And it was personally, I think it was the approach that I took on checking with holistic doctors versus going the medical route. And so I'm always going to be a pro holistic approach. And we have to try the holistic approach because it doesn't have side effects. You don't get in the treadmill of medications when you take this, the side effect is this, so you need that other medication that has a side effect, which is going to turn into another sign or symptom, which needs to be addressed with another medication, and that treadmill that is always going on, especially for people here in America that keep on getting medicated from medical doctors, and many times the holistic approach is not considered. And so many things could be addressed such as my pre-diabetic conditions, if you were to do the prevention instead of taking the medicine to fix the condition. So that is what we're talking about. And so when I found myself 40 pounds overweight, achy, irritable, lacking focus, bad sleep, all the things that could be experienced at the same time, I needed to do something. And I remember that Thanksgiving is when I started the ketogenic nutritional diet. And so I started eating low carb, high fat, started working out consistently, and I lost 44 pounds in a process of 6 months. And I was able to keep that weight off for most of the years to come and up until today. And I learned mostly how to make this a self-care a consistent thing and how to not believe the medical doctor with the medication route and address the concerns holistically and looking at the root cause of what the diagnosis, conditions, issues, obstacles, side effects that might show up. Because sometimes we get diagnosed, we put ourselves in a box, and that's who we are, and the identity owns that kind of characteristic. Like that is our culprit, and that is the end of it, and there's nothing that to change. And it really is not true. You can impact the way your body responds. You can impact the health of the cells, and we call that particular thing epigenetics, which is when you change the environment in which the cell lives, you're actually able to impact that anti-aging nature, which is basically you going into the process of self-healing through nutrition, through exercise, better sleep, meditation practices, self-care techniques, and or lifestyle. You can impact a lot of that. And one of the things that I recently did was genetic testing that gave me a very detailed report on what are the things that I'm prone to, how do I address them before becoming an issue. And one of the things that is being talked about in this particular document is inflammation, which I'm in the process of addressing. So the weight loss is no longer a concern. The sugar is not longer a concern for me. But what is there for me at this point is cardiovascular health, which means that my heart is working ideally and that inflammation, lowering the level of inflammation in the body. And that can be done through nutrition, through lowering the levels of stress. And I'm in the process of addressing that. But I'm sharing my own journey, not because I want to brag or because I think that I know it all or whatever. It's because I had my own struggles and being able to find out what the right step or the next step will be. Do I go the traditional medicine route? Do I go the holistic route where the holistic route would be effective? Do I need to take the medication that the doctor is telling me that I'm going to be on if I don't change the way that I'm going about it, and I'm not able to reverse this condition, or do I need to keep on going and believe that my body will self heal? Because our body has the capacity to self heal. But what happens is we have loads of toxins. We are not working optimally because we are in inflammation, we are high levels of cortisol, we have high levels of stress, we're not sleeping well, we're hyperstimulated all day long. So even when we go to sleep, it's really hard to turn the machine off and being able to rest and stay completely relaxed through the night. So tell me if you are experiencing any of the things that I shared and or any of the other experiences that are very common for some of you in the middle age. And I know the struggle because I have my own share of side effects and or characteristics that I didn't understand. We're going to go into what is the impact or the real cost of us abandoning ourselves. How does it experience in the body? How does it feel in the body? And what can we do maybe to start addressing those concerns? So, um, when we think of women abandoning themselves, we think that it only affects our body, but truly it affects everything in our body, mind, and soul. And our quality of life is impacted because we're not longer happy. We're not longer satisfied. We're not taking care of our needs. We're abandoning ourselves. We're leaving ourselves behind. We're making everything else and everybody else a priority while we're just setting ourselves up for failure. So when you continuously put yourself last, it can show up as low levels of energy, increased stress, weight gain or fat, increased fat, especially in the midsection, belly button area, especially for midlife women. Brain fog, lack of focus, irritability, when you go off and kind of scream or lose your temper, feel impatient, irritable, all those things are very common. Low levels of confidence, feeling disconnected from yourself, like the old version of me is over there, but I'm not longer feeling her. I'm not longer connecting with her. I don't sense her. I feel like if she's gone, I'm not really connected with that version of myself, which is very true and real for ourselves when we start experiencing that. But ultimately, we can always go back and rescue that version of ourselves as long as we align with the optimal health practices. A lot of them we're going to go over and discuss in the next 3 weeks. And so the last one is feeling like you lost your spark. You feel like you're not yourself. You feel disconnected. You feel like, oh, what happened with the other version of me that was more in tune, that was more active, more energetic, feeling better, body energy, no pain, and all the things that were present before. That version of ourselves, the optimal health one, is still available, but like the lioness, we have to go and carve her out. We have to ignite her. We have to align with her. We have to be intentional at doing that identity shift into embodying that version of ourselves, embodying the lifestyle, embody the commitment, the consistency, the discipline, embodying how does this woman take care of herself. Is she being loosey goosey? Is she being a wimp? Is she being not committed? Is she being 50% in instead of 100% in? What is showing up for her? And how can I go ahead and go into the other version of committed, disciplined, long term, right? Not just a week, not just 3 days, long term, and just being invincible, unstoppable, and just bringing the best out of you one day at a time. Not overwhelming ourselves, not making ourselves wrong, not beating ourselves up, but be really encouraging with ourselves and being graceful with ourselves. Being curious when things that come up are a trigger or we feel like we lack the confidence and we go into the fear, the conditioning, the make wrong, the beating ourselves up, the being the perfectionist, the not believing in ourselves and or projecting catastrophic futures like we see, oh no, that's never gonna happen. We really need to catch ourselves and stop feeding that monster, like the cookie monster, and just really start ignoring that side of you that brings you down. They say it's a spiral going down or it's a spiral going up. So if we start going into that spiral that goes down, you have to stop, intercept, interrupt, change the direction, and it might take a little bit of time to be able to shake yourself and kind of stop the nonsense. But I want you to start becoming more aware when that conditioning shows up because it's simply fear. It's lack of confidence because of experiences in the past, traumas, things that didn't go right, things that went quite wrong many times. And we don't understand, we don't comprehend, we don't forgive, we don't forget. And we kind of carry with us these experiences that are like our baggage. It's time to let all that go. It's time to start operating from the new version of you and let that old version of ourselves go. And it's almost like shedding. It's almost like a little snake that sheds the skin and then it's embodying the new, stepping into the new costume. Think of Halloween and when you dress up and you put a costume, you're embodying a new version of you. This is a different, complete feeling, experience, expression. And so that's what we want to do. The identity shift is going from where you are, maybe stuck or stagnant or demotivated or disconnected or frustrated or resigned, whatever it is that's showing up for you. I don't want to be all negative. Maybe you're hopeful, but you don't know how. Maybe you are somewhat committed, but you're looking for the little things that are going to make it so that you can stick with it. Hopefully, this training will be it for you. And for the ones that are committed long term to create that transformation, there will also be opportunities for you to do that. But your body is always listening to the way you're treating yourself. And the way you treat yourself is so important because it gives you that confidence, it gives you that believing in yourself. And when we kind of pat ourselves in the back, we celebrate ourselves, we are coming from a place of gratitude And that is what opens up opportunities. That's what makes it things makes it so things flow. Instead of being negative or going into what we said, the downward spiral, hopeless, dramatic, victim, all that is the conditioned self. It's the conditioning, the fear from the past, the trauma, the experiences, the things that we didn't swallow, didn't understand. What I'm asking you to step on is over here on the side, which is your face and that sense of reassurance, being hopeful, confident, and having that sense of it can happen, it is available for me, it is possible, I can transform, create, manifest, you know, whatever it is, align with that new reality that I want to create. And so, when you're constantly telling yourself, I'll take care of things or myself later, the body starts kind of shutting down. It really hears that I don't matter right now, and it gets kind of like mopey and sad and feels abandoned. If instead you were to transform that, let go of that behavior, shed it, melt it, release it, let it go, and you go into, I can do this, you can actually revert that behavior just out of being aware and being intolerant of that behavior taking over your life. So many times we observe ourselves from the outside and we can see ourselves going into the conditioning and the fear and the holding back and the observing and the judging and assessing or protecting myself or withdrawing, whatever it is that the experience is for us when we go in the conditioning. But we can sit and observe from outside and not do anything about it, or we can actually observe out of awareness, not tolerating the behavior, intercepting, interrupting the behavior, and changing the direction, going into a new, different, complete, different reality that you create as a determination, as a declaration, as a newfound confidence with yourself, and really being fed up with whatever version that was showing up before that maybe was not committed, that was not clear, that lacked confidence, that lacked reassurance, that lacked whatever it is that lacked, stepping into that lioness that we have available within and being able to bring that out, right? Embodying, stepping into that new identity and showing up as an embodiment of that true strength, beauty, power, unstoppability, being unreasonable with ourselves. This is possible. I'm making it happen. And then discipline ourselves with the courage of the lioness to be able to follow through. We get inspired and then we give up. We get inspired and then we give up. So the 21 days is your inspiration. And then we have to continue going because some of you might have a longer road to recovery and healing and recreating the life that you want to create in your, in your newfound identity. You want to create a new reality. And so it will take time to do that. But this 21 days is for you to get started and to get a little bit more consistent with the actions that you need to put forth in order to unveil that optimal health, lower body fat, less inflammation kind of a body, or balance your hormones and or whatever it is that you want to accomplish. Because when we get to that place that we address our health concerns, then we have a purpose to fulfill and we have a big mission to accomplish, and we're going to be inspired and we're going to have a sense of confidence and energy and being bursting with energy versus being in that sense of overwhelm or survival that we can be when we're not feeling in our optimal health. And so, what we want to do is stop saying, I don't matter right now, and shift it. Shift it completely. You don't need a complete overhaul. You don't need a perfection. You don't need everything to be figured out today. You simply need to start choosing yourself again, because the confidence is not going to build overnight and it's not going to be done in giant leaps. It's going to be one step in front of the other, one step in front of the other, and one day at a time. It's been my motto for the last 2 months. I had a lot of things transform and quite frankly, vanished and recreated in my life. And so coming from that place of one day at a time and I have a new opportunity available is, keeping yourself fresh and light and not significant and not dramatic. That is all part of the conditioning we're trying to let go to be able to embody, step into the new identity of yourself, the new strong, confident, believe in myself kind of lioness that we are to unveil, to bring out, to align with, and manifest in our life. And so, it is built by keeping little promises. So we're going to celebrate the little victories. I don't want this to be overwhelming or too many steps or complicated things. This is simple. It takes a little commitment. Watch the live, do the homework, be present during the day, check in with yourself. Become aware of how you operate. Notice when you're just falling into the conditioning, going into the drama, start complaining, feeling hopeless, making yourself wrong, beating yourself up and call yourself into being somebody who's a little bit more graceful, accepting, and curious. Curious of my patterns, curious of my behaviors, curious on how can I make the next version of me available and what is it gonna take, and being more forgiving with yourself instead of beating yourself up and making yourself wrong. And so you don't have to figure everything out today. You simply need to choose yourself again. I said that before. One small decision and one small victory at a time. We're not going to build the confidence overnight or in giant leaps. Every single thing that you do, that you accomplish, it's a small celebration. And that celebration gives you this energy, gives you the confidence that you pat yourself in the back. I can do it. This is my time. I can keep on going. I'm not going to give up. And that energy keeps going and going and going. And that creates momentum and you're able to accomplish the goal just because you keep pedaling, right? You don't give up and you keep on moving forward. So that is what we want to create in the next 21 days. Um, every time you do that of encouraging yourself, staying curious, being accepting, being grateful, being forgiving, not going into perfection, not beating yourself up, not making yourself wrong, not having high expectations of yourself that you end up failing and saying, I said so, it's not going to happen, I cannot do it, or whatever else that you tell yourself. And then conditioning and being able to say, I matter. Just because I exist, I matter, I'm worthy, I deserve, I allow, I receive, I'm open to opportunities, I'm opening to blessings, I'm open to a new future being available for me, and really being able to create it from you speaking, from you visualizing it and talking about it, speaking about it. But the core and the root of all this is going to be you feeling good about yourself, feeling in optimal health, and aligning with those routines of lifestyle changes that you're going to have to create because many of you have let yourself go or try hard and then gave up and then started again and don't have the consistency and now you lack the confidence and then you don't know where to go or how to start or given up too many times. And here we go, right? With vicious cycle again. We need to get ourselves out of the vicious cycle. How will we get it? With action. And then we work on the mindset. And then we work on celebrating ourselves. And then we work on doing it again and over again. So if you ever fall down, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you keep on walking forward without giving up on yourself and or your goals. So I matter will be a function of you proving to yourself that you have kept the commitment to take care of yourself or working out or eating right or sleeping better or more protecting that sleep. It's very important for us to self heal, to be able to eat well and to be able to rest well. Those are very important things. And so we're going to have the lioness reflection. We're going to have that moment of thinking. Where have I been putting myself? Where have I been putting myself last? Whether it is as a member of a family or maybe a member of your workspace or in your business if you own a business or maybe in your community, um, maybe in your group of friends. Where have you been allowing yourself, because nobody does it to us, we do it to ourselves. We can own up to that and not make ourselves wrong and or beat ourselves up. See the distinction here, own up to it, but without making myself wrong or beating myself up. That I actually tolerate it and or accepted, leaving from that place of being resigned and or cynical. Where have I been putting myself last? Don't judge yourself, just awareness, right? Being curious. Awareness is where transformation begins. The next step is not tolerating what you notice, but not from a place of make wrong. It's just like drawing the sand in the line, saying not longer so, not in my timeline, not in my presence. I'm not longer allowing this. I declare this is complete, this is done, this is not longer so. I'm going into a new direction, and that declaration is what's going to make it absolutely possible for you. And so, where have I been putting myself last? And let that awareness be where that transformation begins. Okay, so we're going to go into the homework. We've been here for quite a bit. I want to just discuss the homework. Yesterday, the homework had a lot of questions in it. One person was asking me if I want you to identify from a list of conditions. What I said it was increased body fat, inflammation, hormones out of balance, and we can think of anti-aging and or optimal health. Yeah, those are the five areas that I wanted you to talk to me about. I want to hear, I want to understand, I want to comprehend, I want to learn from what are you dealing with. I had my own journey with sugar and fat loss and the hormones and all that stuff, but I want to know what are you dealing with so that I can address some of those concerns and share some tips and tricks or whatever it is. And so for today, we want to do one thing. We're going to do just one thing, and we're going to complete this sentence. Is today I choose me by and dot dot dot, right? You can fill in the blanks. Whatever it is that you show yourself that you're choosing yourself about. Today I choose myself by and put in that little empty space whatever option. I'm going to give you a moment to just think of what the option is for you because I don't want to give you the ideas right away. Take a moment to think. How do you choose yourself? How can you be an example of choosing yourself? And allow that answer to come from within. And if you haven't really gotten it, maybe it'll come in a dream or later on as you're washing dishes or sitting down, getting ready to go to sleep. Be open to hear your own guidance and understanding that little whisper behind your ear. But I want to also give you some ideas of what it could be, right? So the examples could be going out for a walk, drinking more water. You can take a break from feeling guilty, giving yourself some grace, and allow myself not to feel guilty for taking care of myself or whatever I choose to do over overextending myself for everybody else and everything else. Reading a book, one of you mentioned in the group that has become a daily habit of sitting down and whining with a book. That's a beautiful practice. Beautiful, beautiful practice. But it takes something, right, to develop that discipline, to be able to allow yourself to make that the new routine. So I want to think of how do you choose yourself? Other options would be saying no to something that drains you, putting a boundary, saying no. No, it's a complete sentence. N-O, two letters, complete sentence. It doesn't need a follow-up explanation. It doesn't need an excuse. It doesn't need an apology. It's N-O, no. I invite you to practice it because it's so liberating to just say no. No is no, and it doesn't need anything else. And so I don't need to explain myself or apologize. It is a statement by itself and practice stopping at the N-O. No, keep on going. Um, Asking for help. That's a big one right now. I think post 2020 pandemic, everybody's been struggling a little bit with mental health. I find that as coach in a high school for sports, I find that a lot of girls are dealing with anxiety, and social media is a big influence. The expectations of some society, the comparison, standing in the lack, not as pretty as, or whatever else is going on. But even elderly people feel lonely, and grown adults many times feel disconnected as well. In relationships, disconnected with ourselves, overwhelmed, too much noise, overstimulation, feeling kind of irritated. because we're just being bombarded with information and drama and situations, all that stuff. Sometimes we just need to bring everything in and kind of settle down and chill and take a moment for ourselves and not feel bad about it. So asking for help many times is necessary. If we're not able to bring ourselves down to that place of, oh, I'm gonna take a break, I need time off, I'm going to give myself permission to slow down and not do so much, then we might need to ask for help and doing it from a place of being humble and being appreciative of that opportunity to ask for help. And so that's another thing. And then the last one is taking 10 minutes of quiet time. And not as a punishment or a corner, stand in the corner 10 minutes of quiet time. It's going to be not having to do anything. Maybe you sit by the window and have a cup of tea and just look at the animals. I just recently moved. I have little rabbits all around that eat and feed, and it's just beautiful. And so I'll be working and I'll be watching the rabbits eat. Whatever it is that you do to kind of let yourself relax, let yourself unwind, let yourself align, let yourself settle into your own self and bring the energy in over always being out there, paying attention to everything and everyone. And, many times that's what happens. We have a big impact in leaving ourselves behind. So the conditions for this homework today is keeping it simple and make it realistic. Don't aim for so high that you end up failing. I want you to have a quick win that we can celebrate. That's the secret. Quick win that we can celebrate. So then we're gonna actually do it. That's the key. It's absolutely the key. So the homework for today is choosing what you're gonna take on. Today I choose me by and state whatever it is, and I'll post it in the group and I'll send it in the replay. Um, and then I wanna have you share it. And so whoever is sharing in the group and puts it for everybody else to read will also have an opportunity to win a free session with me, and I'll be happy to honor that. It will be just basically for you to feel better, to get better, and I don't really expect much out of that, out of this conversation, other than making a difference with what you're dealing with where you're standing at, with what you're going through, and all the things that we discussed. And so I think we're almost at the mark. I don't want to keep it too long, but I do want to offer a reward for the people that have been participating in the homework. And I feel that the winner for the homework day number 1 is Beth. And the reason why is because she took the time to write all the questions and answer them in detail. And so you're the winner for today's free session, and I'll reach out to you to be able to offer and extend that invitation to me. And I want to just take a moment to say thank you because I don't take your commitment and your time for granted. I'm really committed that this is useful for you, but I also want to give you a clear picture on what it takes to actually transform long term and make that transformation last. It's not a 21-day process. I'm hoping this is the start of the process for you. And so if you need anything from me, if you have any questions, if you want to share anything, if you have anything you need other than what I mentioned, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Email, social media, you can make a comment in the YouTube, and I will make sure that I get back to you. Give me some grace because I have a lot going on, but I'm here for you over the next 21 days. And I'm so proud of you for having showed up today, whether it is the live or you're catching the replay. Put hashtag replay so I know that you're catching up with the replays. And I will send the replay by email. I will also send the homework and post it in the group. If you're not participating and or sign up for the training, we have it going on from June 22nd all the way for 21 days. And I will also free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to share with you the link to participate in the whole experience. And so, with that being said, I complete today's training, day number 2. Have a wonderful rest of your night, and I will see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for your time and your commitment, and I hope you have a lovely night. Take care. Bye.